Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Mad Hatter Radio. I want to thank all my fellow lost souls for joining me. Reporting live from the event Horizon. Welcome to yet another episode. So I do want to say before starting, thank you guys who all are subscribed and who like my videos and who interact with me. Thank you for that. I am going to try something a little bit different. I know it's been a while since I've done these videos because I'm really trying to figure out where I want to go forward with this. Because we all know how YouTube is demonetizing. It's making it more difficult for a lot of videos to get out there, especially mine. So I want to figure out if I want to do this on this platform or maybe on a podcasting type platform. So I'm definitely trying to figure that out now. If I do make any changes, I will let you guys know through this YouTube account. But I'm definitely not going to stop vlogging. I'm not going to stop blogging because this is what I do. This is therapy for me. So just be on the lookout. And again, thank you guys for hanging in there. So this go around, actually, before I go into the story, I'm going to try a different strategy here on this channel. I'm going to definitely look into straying away from specific articles and specific events that happen and kind of keep it more general about what I think is happening in the subconscious mind of this world that we live in and kind of where we're headed and how we're treating each other. And I want to stick with that vibe. So with that being said, let's get started. This go around, I do want to talk about, it is a bit of a recent event, but I don't want to focus on the event. I want to extrapolate what that event might mean. Basically apply that event to the real world and explain what's happening based on this event. Because I feel like you can pull a lot of different details from different events that are happening around the world, and you can extrapolate information from that and figure out where we're headed and what that means. And that's what I want to try to do on this channel, and especially on this podcast episode. So if you guys haven't been following the news, there is a ProPublica article about the mistreatment of the migrants coming from Central America and all different places below the border, and the mistreatment of all those people when they come here to this country or when they try to. So this article is about a group on Facebook called 1015, and essentially it's like a bunch of Border Patrol agents and officials, former and present. And it's a place for them to get together and become like a family, like a community, right? You see these things happen all the time. But if you're smart and you pay attention, you can definitely see how these groups create extreme ideas and they create extremists. And this group called 1015, they say they want to work together and like create positivity and be funny. But essentially, it's turned into like a group where people take pleasure in watching immigrants die. They take pleasure in watching people of color die. And this is actually something that happened, and I've known because I've been very a part of the internet for a long time, for decades, right? And I remember a time when before the corporate media kind of got control of the internet, there were like a lot of these forums and groups about, watching black people die, snuff videos, watching women get raped. I'm sorry about all these trigger warnings for not saying something earlier, but yes, like there were a lot of these groups around the internet, including Reddit, before Reddit became super corporate and had to clean up. They had a lot of subreddits that were really gross. I mean, I believe in free speech. You should be able to express yourself however you want to express yourself. But that also means that I can criticize you and call you out for what you are. And a lot of this stuff that was happening online was horrendous, atrocious. And you're seeing it now kind of pop up on Facebook. So the pressure that Facebook is being put under, because there is this group by Border Patrols who this article has exposed. Essentially, it's like these old forums from back in the day, right? It's crazy. So my thing is like, there's a lot of different things that they use, a lot of vulgar language that are aimed at these people. They take pleasure in watching. Like there was recently a family from El Salvador that got caught in the Rio Grande, and the father and the daughter died. The mother made it, but it made national headlines, international headlines, and these people in this group are essentially laughing at this. They were taking pleasure in watching these people die. So when you take pleasure in watching these people die, you refer to them as being subhuman. You refer to them as being not human, as being monsters, essentially, just because they're fleeing harsh situations. Okay, are there people that take advantage of that and that aren't fleeing that? Of course, there's always going to be criminals. But most of the people are women and children that are being abused. But anyway, when you see them as being less than human, what's to stop you from treating them like livestock, like as cattle, right? Treating them even worse than cattle, because at least in cattle there's some value, like there's milk and there's meat you can get from it, and you can get something from their skin and you can wear it. But apparently these people see no value in the immigrants coming here, especially from south of the border. So I think this article is important as well, is because it potentially in the legal field can show intent, like to do harm. If they can, if certain lawyers and politicians can prove that, this hatred that these people were spreading on this page led to their mistreatment, I mean, you have some significant cases that can be brought forth here, because it could show one's propensity to hate because of someone's race, origin, or culture, right? And I always want to say, it's always one thing to disagree on policy, but it's another thing to take pleasure in the death of these people who were caught in this political war. The people who were caught in this war are the people in the middle. They are the immigrants. They are the migrants coming here. It's okay for us to disagree on what the policy should be to fix the issue. But when you start taking pleasure or hoping or pushing toward their death or the mistreatment of them, that's when it's a different story, in my opinion. And in my morality as well. This just goes to show that a lot of these people in this country, how we view the other, right? Whether it's, people below the border from the South, whether it's blacks and people of color and women of color versus the cops, or whether it's how civilians of warfare are treated. We treat them horribly. I mean, look at this, the case with the ex-Navy SEAL and the congressman from California, and how basically they didn't care about, the congressman admitted to killing civilians during a war. Civilians are essentially innocent. He was just like, yeah, we killed him. So what? And nobody even cares about that statement that he made. It should be a way larger story. But in this country, because we're so inured and we don't care about a lot of things, and we don't have empathy and compassion like we say we do, we don't care. So this is just our chickens coming home to roost, in my opinion. This is the subconscious that we're buying into. We're buying into this idea of, I don't give a damn, I just want mine. And this is what's happening. And we all are a part of this. We are all culpable, in my opinion. And it also reminds me of this series called The Punisher. You should definitely check The Punisher out. So there's a character in The Punisher called Rollins, and he basically gets off by abusing people and torturing people and killing them. And it reminds me of these groups and these people I know in my life who get off by watching violence and snuff videos. It's sick. It's absolutely freaking sick, but it's true. And really quick also, to be clear, this stuff happened under Democratic administrations. However, it's different now just because of how pervasive the feeling is to mistreat the people at the border. It's like a newfound delight these people are having in the mistreatment of people who were in dire situations, Essentially, they're being treated like prisoners. That's why this whole thing reminds me of the prison Stanford experiment. If you guys don't know about that, you should definitely check that out. It's an experiment that was done back in California back in the day, and it shows that when people are put into positions of power, even if it's not really real power, it gets to their head, and it affects the prisoners and the guards of the prisons, or the officials, the authority. And so this is exactly like what's happening at the border right now. Like, I've seen these images that have come out, and I will put this article in the description. And you have these images that have come out that are basically showing like women being, they're in these toilets, and there's no garbage can. So there's just dirty toilet paper, used toilet paper everywhere, strewn just next to the freaking toilet. And there's accounts of the Border Patrol agents telling the migrants to drink water from a toilet. Drink water from a toilet. Yes, this is where we're at. You see a crying and a distressed woman from another country fleeing violence, and you tell her and her child to drink water from a toilet. This is what they did to Guantanamo Bay prisoners. And this is our country. There's been plenty of articles that show that what they're trying to do at the border is essentially turn these people into prisoners because it's cheap labor. This country was built off cheap labor, and we're never going to stop focusing on cheap labor. So it's unfortunate, but if our jail systems aren't getting better, the border situation won't get better either. The only way for this thing to get better, and I actually do give a lot of credit to the Democratic candidate for president, Marianne Williamson. She's an author. I don't think she's going to win, but she brought up a really good point about how in this country we have to look at what led to hateful people like Donald Trump and a lot of different politicians. Like, I know people on the left who are also all they want to do is just focus on Donald Trump. So what led us to this moment as a country? Like, this won't get fixed until we have some real reconciliation and we really do some real shadow work about who we are. So overall, man, I just see this country, we're sick. We are sick, and seeing what happened at the border now, like, I've kept my mouth shut for so long. But this was it. This was the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, this is ridiculous. If this is really going on, we have to find a fix for this. And people on the other side who are supporting, watching people die and getting off by that and laughing at it, like, you got some issues, man. And the fact that we have people in positions of power who have this mindset, this has to be looked into. This is not a game anymore, man. This is not a game. This is real. It's like Allen Iverson. This is not a game. It's not a game. I'm talking about practice. So this situation is very real right now. And if we don't fix this now, it's going to get a lot worse. In my opinion, it's going to get a lot worse. So that's it. That's my rant for today. This definitely went longer than I wanted, but thank you again for hanging in there. For now, if you like this video, definitely give it a like, please, to help it get out there. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit the notification bell, and I will definitely see you guys next time.